So there's a company called Hcigar or Hcigar out of China, and they're known to make clones, man. Clones. And they've decided to take a different route for this device. They've got their own box mod now. What they've done is they've gone out and purchased authentic DNA40 chips, to put in their own box mod. And this box mod's called the HB DNA40, or AKA the Heartbeat. But before we move any further into this review, okay, I want to state this. If you've never seen a DNA40 chip or you don't know anything about a DNA40 chip, I recommend going down below in the description. I have a DNA40 basics video. Please watch that before you watch this, because I'm not going to go into all the details for this chip. I'm just going to go over the basics, okay? So check it out. Again, in the description, I have a link to DNA40 basics, a DNA40 basics video. Check that out first. Well, first of all, I got this thing set in nickel mode because I got the Hcigar Sub-Tank Mini on here, rocking the OCC nickel coil heads. It's reading a 0.14 reading at rest. I'm vaping at 27 watts, and I got her set to 500 degrees. Gosh, I love these nickel OCC coil heads, man. I can't get enough of them. But I gotta state this, if you are using a nickel coil head, or you're using Ni200 nickel wire to do your RTA builds, your RDA builds, you gotta use a device that has temperature control mode. Gotta do it. You cannot use a regular device. Not when using nickel wire, you can't. So now what I've done is I've switched this mod from temperature control mode to standard mode, because I've got this Sub-Tank on here by Anakin that's got the standard coil head in here. I'm vaping her at 28.5 watts with this 0.5 ohm standard coil head. Rocking and rolling. So before I dive down and show you this thing up close, I want to go over some basic specs for this DNA40 chip. With this DNA40 chip, you can run this thing in two modes. You can run this thing in temperature control mode using nickel wire, or you can run this thing in regular standard mode using Kanthal, nichrome, etc. You can vapor between 1 and 40 watts. In standard mode, you can build her down to 0.16 ohms up to 2 ohms. And then in temperature control / nickel mode, the recommended is 0.1 ohms up to 0.2 ohms. Also, the chip has battery step down, and it also has reverse battery protection, so if you put the chip in the wrong way, it's not going to fry the chip. Sweet! Okay, so just like any other DNA40 chip, it's got a whole slew of protection and other features, and I'm going to go ahead and show you those specs right now. Alrighty, so here's the boxing or the plastic container this Heartbeat DNA40 comes in. Top comes off, you got your USB cord, and then you got your Heartbeat DNA40. Again, here's the USB cable. And it also comes with this user manual. So the dimensions, 96 millimeters by 50 millimeters by 24 millimeters. And the casing is made primarily of aluminum. I mean, she's nice and solid. You've got your menu screen, which we'll get into in a second, but you got your fire button and you got your wattage up, wattage down buttons. I mean, they're nice clicky buttons too. Nice clicky buttons. And down here on the side, you got your USB port for charging. Now notice how it's not on the base. That's a good thing. That's a big plus, because that means you can stand it up straight while you charge it. On the back, you got your HB40 logo. And then on the base, you got your vent holes for battery venting. At the top, you got your spring-loaded copper center pin, and you also have your stainless steel 510 connection threads. Okay, so here's a closer look. Now you got those 4 notches, and those 4 notches are for devices like tanks that take the airflow through the 510 connection. Again, here's a look at the back. Now you see this seam right here on the side, on the top. Okay, it's got a magnetic back panel. Take this sucker off, all you do is put pressure on the back panel, slide it down, it comes out just like so. And as you guys can see, this thing holds a single 18650 battery. And there's the inside of her. Looking pretty clean, looking pretty clean. Pop the battery back in, flat top up. And if you notice, you got different notches up here than you do down here. And what you want to do, you want to line these notches with these notches, and these notches with these notches. Good to go. Alrighty, so here's the DNA40 screen, an authentic DNA40 screen. But just to go over the basics, 5 clicks to unlock it. See, right now it's locked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's unlocked. And as you guys can see, I mean, it's straightforward. You got the battery life, the ohms, the voltage, and the wattage. And also right now, as you guys can see, she's running in standard mode. Now, you know that because it's got the voltage symbol at the bottom. Now, if it didn't have the voltage symbol and it had the Fahrenheit, the degrees, then it would be running in temperature control mode. But this is a standard mode right here. And we got a device on here that's got a standard Kanthal coil head in here. Vaping her at 27 watts. Oh yeah, she's firing right up, baby. Now what I've done is I popped an OCC nickel coil head tank on there, and I'm going to go ahead and change it over to temperature control mode. So in order to do that, 5 clicks the fire button, locks it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She locks it. Hold down the wattage up and the wattage down button down at the same time. Alright, and I'm going to change the temperature. I'm going to drop her down to, let's see, 430 degrees. 5 clicks to unlock it. Okay, it's going to say voltage for a second, but we're going to go ahead and fire her up. Oh, and we're in temperature control mode. Yeah, buddy! Like I said, when you run this thing in standard mode or temperature control mode, this thing vapes between 1 and 40 watts, okay, to adjust her down. She goes all the way down to 1 watt, all the way up to 40 watts. To run this thing in stealth mode, you gotta lock it. You hold down the fire button down and the wattage down button down at the same time, and that takes you from normal mode to stealth mode. Let go. 5 clicks to unlock it. Okay, she's unlocked. Oh yeah, the screen doesn't fire up. That's stealth mode. Take it back. Back to normal mode. To take it from right screen to left screen, lock it. Hold the fire button and the wattage up down at the same time. To change it back, hold the fire button down and the wattage up button down at the same time. Make sure it's locked. As far as build quality, I give this sucker about a 7, 7.5 out of a 10. It's about average. So that right there is the Heartbeat DNA40. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime and talk about this thing some more and wrap this sucker up. The 2 cons that I found for this device, okay, and they're going to be subjective. 1, the button placement. You guys saw in the close-ups. But I found it's not an issue to me. I just got used to it. Over time, I got used to it. This is how I hit it, just like this. Easy peasy, what a sleazy. And the next subjective con are the edges. The edges are a little bit sharp for my taste, but again, that's all subjective. You may not think they are. And another subjective con is that when you pop the device on there, it's not centered. Again, subjective. Everything else about this device is the cow's milk, baby. And the big pro to all this is the freaking price point. The price point, $100 to $110 is what I'm seeing online. So if you're a vapor out there, you're looking for a DNA40 device, an authentic DNA40 device, this thing may just be for you for a great price point. So here's the deal. Hcigar, the guys that manufacture this bad boy out of China, they're the ones that sent this to me to review for you guys. And unfortunately, I cannot vouch for any of the sites that pop up when you Google this bad boy, okay, that are selling this thing for $100 to $110. That's what I'm seeing most of these companies sell it for, but I never received any devices from them. I've never purchased any devices from them, so again, I cannot vouch for them. So here's the big question, the big answer of the day. If I'd have lost this thing today, would I go out tomorrow and buy one? Now, if I'm looking for a DNA40 device, which I'm a big fan of, I own like 5 DNA40 devices. Hell yeah, I'd go out and buy one. I'd go out and buy 3 of them. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.